Are you struggling to get clients? You've been told to do more outreach, more posting, more hustle. Here's the truth. You don't have a client problem. You have a positioning problem. Positioned wrong, a vague generalist for anyone. No hustle works because nobody knows why they'd pick you. Positioned right, the perfect person instantly thinks that's exactly who I need. Clients get almost automatic. Today, why positioning beats hustle and how to fix yours. Quick context on why I can teach this. Since 2021, I've worked as a regional associate in mergers and acquisitions with the Baker Group, an Ad Astra company. I value businesses and I get them sold. And think about what that job actually is. Getting people to say yes to some of the highest stakes decisions of their lives, buying or selling a business worth everything they built. That doesn't happen through hustle or pushy tactics. It happens through positioning, being the right, credible, obvious person, presenting the right thing to the right person at the right time. I've spent years learning how people actually decide to say yes and hand over real money. On top of that, I've built my own client income, this channel, my consulting from scratch. So this isn't theory, it's how getting people to pay you actually works from someone who does it professionally. Let me show you. Guys, no theory, no motivational BS, no guru fluff, just how getting clients actually works. This is Bank Smartly Media. Let's get you positioned. This is video one of a brand new series, Get Clients, where we're going to go from understanding the money system to actually building income you own, one client at a time. If you've got a skill or a service and you're stuck on the how do I get people to pay me part, this series is for you. Subscribe and hit the bell. Here's what you'll have by the end. One, why positioning beats hustle, the real reason do more isn't working, and why fixing this makes everything else easier. Two, the three things great positioning actually answers, the simple test for whether yours is working or broken. And three, how to start fixing your positioning today, even if you're starting from zero with no clients, no audience, and no proof. This is the foundation video. Get this right, and every other video in this series gets 10 times easier. Let me be straight with you, the way that I always am. I'm not going to promise you 10 clients in 10 days or any guru nonsense. Getting clients is real work, and positioning isn't a magic trick. What it is the highest leverage place to start because it makes every other effort actually pay off instead of being wasted. I'll be honest about what works and what doesn't, and I'll use real examples, not hype. So let's get into it. First, why does positioning beat hustle? Why can someone working half as hard get twice the clients? Once you see the mechanism, you'll never waste energy on blind hustle again. Here it is. So here's what's really happening. When a potential client is looking for help, they're not looking for someone who solves their specific problem. And when they encounter a vague generalist, I do marketing, design, consulting, a bit of everything for all kinds of businesses, their brain cannot categorize you. It can't tell if you're right for them. So they just have to move on. And it's not because you're not skilled, because you're not clearly the answer to their specific problem. But when you're positioned sharply, I help this specific type of person solve this specific painful problem. The right client looks at you and instantly thinks, that's exactly who I need. You've gone from one of many options I have to evaluate to obviously the right person. That's the whole difference. So let's look at why hustle without this fails. We'll call this the leaky bucket. And this is the whole reason why hustling without positioning is so painful and pointless. When your positioning is vague, every bit of effort leaks away. You can send 100 cold messages, but since nobody can tell why they'd pick you, they convert almost nobody. You post constantly, but since it's generic, it doesn't make anyone think I need that person. You're working incredibly hard, pouring water into a leaky bucket. The effort just drains out because the foundation underneath it isn't holding anything. This is why do more feels like punishment that never pays off. More effort on a broken foundation just means more wasted effort. Fix the positioning, patch the bucket, and suddenly the same 100 messages, the same posts start actually converting because now people can tell you're the one for them. You don't need more hustle, you need your hustle to stop leaking. So here's the principle. Positioning beats hustle because being clearly right for someone specific beats being vaguely good for everyone every time. When you're positioned well, you become the obvious choice and getting clients gets easy. When you're positioned vaguely, every ounce of effort leaks out of a broken bucket. So before you send a single cold message or post another thing, fix this. Because positioning is the foundation that decides whether all of your effort pays off or drains away. Stop trying to hustle harder. Start being clearer about who you're for. So, positioning is the foundation. The obvious question, what does good positioning actually look like? How do you know if yours is working or broken? There are three specific things it has to answer. That's next. So, the vague generalist, I do everything for everyone. Your brain cannot categorize. Move on. versus sharp positioning. I help who solve problem. That's exactly who I need. A leaky bucket versus a patched one. Here is the actual test. The three questions your positioning has to answer instantly and clearly. If a potential client can't answer all three within seconds of encountering you, your positioning is way off track, my friend, and that is why clients aren't coming. Here are all three. Question one: who exactly is this for? The very first question, great positioning answers. Who specifically is this for? Not businesses, not anyone who needs help, a specific type of person or business. Here's the counterintuitive part that scares people. The narrower you get, the more clients you attract because specificity makes you feel custom built for that person. I help small businesses for is forgettable. I help independent dental practices makes every independent dental practice owner stop and think, "Oh, that's me. This person understands my world." Narrowing down doesn't shrink your market, it makes you the obvious magnetic choice within a market instead of a forgettable generalist across all of them. The riches really are in the niches, and the fear of narrowing too much is exactly what keeps most people invisible. The second question: what specific painful problem do you solve for them? People don't pay for services, they pay to make a painful problem go away or reach a desirable outcome they can't reach alone. So your positioning can't be about what you do. I do social media management. It has to be about the problem you solve. I help specific people stop losing customers to competitors with a stronger online presence. The more clearly you name a problem they're already feeling and worried about, the more they feel you understand them. And people buy from those who understand their problem, not those who just list their services. Name the pain they actually lie awake thinking about, and you become the person who finally gets it. Question three: why you and not all of the other million alternatives? The third question: why you specifically over every other option, including doing nothing? This is where you give them a reason to pick you, your specific approach, your unique angle, your credibility, your proof, the specific way you get results. It doesn't have to be a giant resume. Even when you're starting from zero, it can be your focused understanding of their exact problem, your specific method, or simply that you're clearly specialized in them while your competitors are generalists. The point is to answer the question quietly, forming in their mind. Okay, but why this person? Before it becomes a reason to hesitate. Positioning that answers why you removes the last barrier between interest and a yes. So let's look at the unifying insight. Here's the through line tying all three together: who it's for, what problem you solve, why you. Great positioning is simply being able to make a specific person instantly think, this is for someone exactly like me, it solves a problem I actually have, and this is clearly the right person to solve it. When your positioning answers all three instantly, getting clients transforms. Outreach converts because the right people self identify, content lands because it speaks to a specific pain, referrals flow because people can easily describe what you do and who for. Everything downstream just gets easier and more experience. It required you to be clearer. Most people are losing clients not because they're not good enough, but because they've never answered these three questions sharply, so the right people can't even tell they're the answer. Answer them and you stop being a hidden generalist and become somebody's obvious choice. So do this with me right now. In the comments, try to answer the three for yourself: who you help, what problem you solve, why you. Even a rough attempt, I want to see them. I'll give feedback where I can, and just writing it out will show you instantly whether your positioning is sharp or fuzzy. Plus, it might help you find your next client. And I read everyone, so go ahead. So, that's the moment people try to actually fix their positioning, though they hit two specific fears that keep them stuck, vague and invisible. Before I close the honest way through them, that's next. So, quick, real one. If you're realizing your positioning is a problem and you want help actually fixing it and building the content and outreach that turns sharp positioning into real clients, that's exactly what I do at banksmartly.net. The resources and tools are all there. And if you want me and my stack to build your client getting system with you, or for you, that's what my done with you and done for you packages are for. The whole series will give you the playbook for free. And if you want it built faster with help, that's the door. It's all at banksmartly.net. Now, the two fears that keep people stuck. Here's what actually keeps people stuck with broken positioning. It's not that they don't understand it. It's two fears that feel safe but quietly keep them invisible. Here's how to beat both. Fear one: if I niche down, I'll lose all the other clients. The first fear is the big one. If I get specific about who I help, I'll cut off all the other people who might pay me. Narrowing sounds like shrinking, but that is backwards, and it's a single belief that keeps the most people broke. Here's the truth: by trying to appeal to everyone, you appeal strongly to no one. You become forgettable wallpaper. By getting specific, you become magnetic to your target. And here's the part that resolves that fear: being known for something specific doesn't actually stop other people from hiring you. A dental practice specialist can still take a client from another industry who comes to them, but now they have a magnet pulling in their core market instead of a vague message pulling in nobody. You don't lose the others. You just finally start winning the ones you're built for. Specificity is how you get found. You can always say yes to extras. Vagueness is how you get found by no one. Fear 2. I don't have the proof or experience to claim a position. The second fear, especially when starting from zero: who am I to position myself as the person for this? I don't have the clients, the proof, or the experience yet. I understand, but that is also a trap because you don't need a mountain of proof to position well. You need clarity and focus. When you're starting out, your position can be built on your focus specialization. I work exclusively with XYZ person on ABC problem. Your specific approach or method, or simply how deep your understanding of their exact pain, all of which you can have on day one. In fact, a focused beginner who's clearly specialized in a specific client often beats an experienced generalist because the specialist feels more right for that specific need. Don't wait for proof to position yourself. Positioning sharply is part of how you get the proof because it's what gets you the first clients that become your proof. Clarity comes before credentials, not after. So here is the clear eyed way to hold this. Both fears point the same direction towards staying vague and safe, which is actually the riskiest thing you can do because vague is invisible. The move that feels scary, getting specific, claiming a clear position before you feel ready, is the one that actually works. Great positioning isn't a reward you earn after years of experience. It's the foundation you choose deliberately at the start that makes the clients and experience come faster. The people stuck without clients are usually the ones playing it safe with the vague, everything for everyone positioning. The people who break through are the ones brave enough to be specific, to plant a flag, become clearly the right person for someone, and let that clarity do the heavy lifting that hustle never could. Be specific, be clear, be the obvious choice for someone. That beats being a maybe for everyone every time. So here's the principle: the two fears, losing other clients and not having enough proof, both push you towards vague, and vague is invisible. Beat them by choosing specificity and clarity right now before you feel ready, because sharp positioning is what makes the clients and proof come. Don't play it safe with the vague. Safe is invisible. Specific is magnetic. So comment which fear has been holding you back: the fear of niching down and losing people, or the fear that you don't have enough proof yet to claim a position. Naming the fear is how you start to beat it, and if you've pushed through it, share what happened. I want others to see it's possible. I read everyone. So you understand now why positioning beats hustle, the three questions, and the fears to push through. Before I close, one honest warning: because there's a way to take positioning too far that backfires. Last real part. So, one last thing, because positioning gets twisted into something hollow and that backfires badly. Guys, seriously, here is the trap. Some people hear positioning and think it means just claiming something clever, slapping on a slick specialist label, writing impressive copy, sounding like the obvious choice, without actually being able to deliver on it. That's not positioning. That is marketing fraud, and it fails fast. Positioning is a promise. When you position yourself as the specialist who solves a specific problem for specific people, you're promising you can actually do that, and you have to keep it, or you get bad results, bad word of mouth, refunds, and a reputation that kills you faster than vagueness ever would. Great positioning points to something real, a genuine focus, a real ability to solve that problem, real care for the client. The clarity is what gets them in the door, but the delivery is what keeps them, gets referrals, and builds the business. Don't position yourself as something you can't back up. Position yourself as the real, focused, genuinely good for them choice, and then be that. So here's the balanced posture: the same clear eyed stance I teach in everything. Positioning isn't a clever marketing trick you slap on top of a vague business. It's getting clear and honest about who you're genuinely best for and what you can genuinely deliver, and then communicating that sharply so the right people can find you. The goal isn't to sound like the obvious choice, it's to become the obvious choice for a specific person by being genuinely focused on them and genuinely good at solving their problem. Do that, and positioning isn't manipulation. It's just clarity in service of the right client. Get clear on who you're for, make a real promise, and keep it. That's positioning that builds a business instead of burning one. Clear, specific, honest, and able to deliver. That is the whole stance. So that's the foundation. Why positioning beats hustle, the three questions it answers, the fears to push through, and the promise you have to keep. Get this right, and everything else in this series gets easier. Next video, we go one level deeper into the most important positioning decision you'll ever make, how to choose a niche that actually pays without boxing yourself in. That's next. So, we got three ways that I can help depending on where you're standing right now. If you just want the resources and tools, it's all at banksmartly.net. If you want to scale through content and outreach, turning sharp positioning into an actual stream of clients, that's what my done with you and done for you packages are for. And if you are preparing to exit, if you own a business and you're thinking about selling or recapitalizing, that's my profession. Text me at 430-373-7752 and email 3 years of profit and loss statements to hbaker@bakergroupmac.com, and we'll talk like professionals. Next video, video 2 of Get Clients, how to choose a niche that actually pays without boxing yourself in. Now you know positioning is the foundation. Next, I'll show you how to pick the specific niche that makes it all work. Subscribe and hit the bell so it finds you. I'm Harvey Baker Jr. This is Bank Smartly Media. Let's build.